We will continue to invite other folks to join us as we go along. Well, thanks for joining us here at Mimecast. You know, we all know work has changed, but humans have not. In this session, we will unveil how an AI-powered platform can magically turn overworked, mistake-prone humans into resilient assets. You're going to learn how measuring individual risk profiles and then doling out behavior-based training can help you reduce incidents, ensure compliance, and maybe even sleep at night if your sock ever lets you. Well, here to tell us all about it is Brandon Reid, Field CTO at Mimecast. Brandon has over 17 years of industry experience, including over almost 8 years right here at Mimecast. He's a founding member of the Mimecast Responsible AI Council and a proud alumnus of the University of Illinois, Chicago. Go Flames! So please join me in giving a warm welcome for Brandon Reid. Let's hear it for it.
Thank you, Larry, for your dual-on intro. Appreciate it, everybody. How's Black Hat going today? Good? Good? All right. You're lucky. You're getting my second presentation of the day. It's like a fine wine. They only get better with age. By the end of the day tomorrow, I'll be doing a jig in the middle of it, maybe a handstand. So come back and see it again if you're up for it. But I want to talk to you a little bit about security and human risk. And some of the things that Mimecast has been doing and that we are going to be doing for the foreseeable future. And when you think about human risk, you're probably hearing a lot about human risk management lately. And there's a very specific reason why. Well, there's multiple reasons why. But one of the main reasons why is that work has changed. And when you think about it, going back 5 or 10 years, you and your employees and your teams were using a finite number of applications day in and day out. Email, maybe a chat, CRM, ERB. Now, it's dozens of applications. I know when I log into our SSO, I've got 45 to 50 different applications that I could be using at any given time. And every time I use one of those applications, I'm creating data. I'm creating proprietary information. I'm accessing proprietary information. I'm interacting with it and sharing it. And that itself has exponentially increased the risk associated with just doing business day in and day out. But humans haven't changed. So we're giving humans all of these new tools, but they're still working with them in the same way that they were. And they think that all of the old rules around sharing data and moving data and saving data apply. And then on top of it, even with all of these tools that we're providing them, there's still shadow IT. It still exists. They're still using applications and tools that are unsanctioned by your business. And when you combine this with the fact that the costs of breaches are increasing exponentially as well, we've really reached this kind of crossroads or this inflection point where we need to close the gap. And that gap is the human risk gap. You look at your cybersecurity spend today. You spend a lot of money securing applications. You spend a lot of money securing data and identity and endpoints and networks. And for the most part, those tools do a pretty darn good job. And that's why today you don't hear too often about somebody's firewall getting hacked. Whenever there's a breach or an incident that makes it to the news or has to be reported by a public company, a human is involved in one way or another. It may include these other tools at some point, but a human is always part of the scenario that involved that incident happening. And our adversaries have taken note of this. And we kind of think that humans have become the new endpoint. Adversaries are doubling down on targeting humans to exploit the vulnerabilities and risk associated with them as they are working with this abundance of applications and tools that were provided. And we've spent the past few years, we spent the past 20 plus years securing human risk because we believe that email security is a core part of human risk management. And that's something that we've been doing and been a leader in this email security space for 20 plus years. But over the past few years, We've made some strategic investments, acquisitions, and continue to develop our own tools natively to build out the Mimecast Human Risk Management platform. And what that platform allows us to do is allows our customers to predict, adapt, and stop human-activated attacks before they result in a breach. And we do this by continually measuring, empowering, and protecting our customers and their end users. It all starts with protection. You need to be stopping known threats from getting into your environment in the first place. And we do that natively with email and collaboration security, insider risk management, data protection tools, as well as our long-standing data governance and compliance solutions. Then, when you're protecting and you have secure footing, you can start to empower. Empowering your users is about giving them the right information, the right training to make the right decisions and actually be part of your cybersecurity team and the part of the solution. But in order to empower and make adaptive policy changes to your protection layer, you need to be measuring. You need to understand what that baseline is. Where is the risk lie? How is the risk changing? Who's risky on any given day? Because it can fluctuate. Individuals are attacked at different cycles. Individuals have different access and controls and permissions based on their roles. And the individuals inherently, based on their behaviors, are doing things that are more risky and less risky. Now we're surfacing this risk that we're measuring through the Human Risk Command Center. Every Mimecast email security cloud gateway customer, which is about 42,000 customers globally, is going to be getting this week. No additional charge. So you're going to start to be able to see the value in the Mimecast Human Risk Management platform on top of the email security that we're provided to you instantaneously. This provides AI-powered human risk scoring down to the individual. Provides detailed analysis so you can start making the right decisions from a security controls perspective based on those user risk profiles. And it includes the risk response engine, which will add value as well as we start to look at and deliver the adaptive policy components, which are included in this as well with email security. So you're going to be able to do adaptive policy changes within Mimecast email security once this rolls out. So what does this look like in practice? We set a baseline, we identify a specific user. Maybe that user's risk score is a 7.1. What actions can we take? Well, initially, we can empower that user by delivering additional training with testing. Or we can deliver real-time nudges via email, Teams, or Slack, which are essentially miniaturized trainings based on very specific actions, good and bad, that are delivered in near real time. Individuals don't learn when something they do is corrected 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, or 6 weeks later. You don't connect the dots mentally. But when something is corrected almost instantaneously or within the hour, you start to realize, oh, I did that. That's why I'm getting this nudge. And I can change my behavior in the future to avoid getting this nudge or getting this notification. So that would then potentially reduce the risk score. Beyond that, you still identify risky behaviors. We can start to make those adaptive policy changes. Now, initially, with the release of Human Risk Command Center, those adaptive policy changes are going to be in email specifically. So as an example, being able to have a more aggressive URL protection policy applied to a specific user if their attack factor starts to go on. For have a more aggressive attachment protection policy, advanced BEC protection policy. We have a whole book of playbooks that are being released in conjunction with this, which are recommended best practices that we have validated, not only with individuals like me, but also within our own cybersecurity team, because we use all of our own tools. We are the first customer for the Mimecast Human Risk Management platform. And these are approved and in use by our CISO within our organization, these flavors. So being able to make those policy changes to meet the risk where it lies, where if you're delivering those trainings and it's still not changing that user's behavior, you take that next logical step, which is providing more strict controls to that user until that risk score drops back down to an acceptable number. Now, I talked so far about the Mimecast tools, and our native tools, whether it's email security, whether it's Insider, which is our insider risk management solution, and then soon governance and compliance is going to be natively integrated as well. But we are not just looking at signals that we can provide natively to build out this risk score. We have a growing risk of signals from our ecosystem partners for endpoint, sensitive data handling, insider risk, awareness training, and identity that are already being brought in, and we're going to continue to add to that, because the more signals that we bring into this risk score, the more accurate and actionable it's going to be, and the more value you're going to receive and get from Mimecast, as well as those other solutions, because they're providing a lot of signals and a lot of telemetry that you probably aren't doing much with today. This is going to provide some organization to that chaos and let you actually get something out of all those cybersecurity signals across your stack. And this is what it's going to look like in the end. Full bilateral integration with adaptive policy, where we're bringing in signals from those third-party ecosystem partners, using them to augment and enhance the risk score, measuring, empowering, protecting, and also being able to push out policy changes to those same cybersecurity tools that we brought in. So full bilateral. We're not quite here yet, but that's where we're going. And it doesn't matter what user or what profile of user. We see the world, there's really three different user types. There's targeted users that are generally, for the most part, doing the right things. They're low risk if they weren't being targeted. Then you have individuals that are the next tier up, where they're making mistakes. They're accidentally risky. It's, generally a safe operator, but certain things that they do are outside of their controls, outside of the policies, and you want to rein them back in to reduce that overall risk score of that individual. And then all the way on the right here, you have kind of the worst case scenario. You have your malicious insiders. You have people that are leaving their organization and trying to take things with them. Or worst case scenario, it's an account that's been compromised and it's somebody that's acting as that user, but it's not that user. And we are able to provide the right level of protection and adaptive policy based on which of these three kind of categories a specific user may fall into. So why are we best suited to deliver human risk management? The scale that we operate at, with 42,000 plus customers globally, we're seeing more than 7 billion signals a day from those customers to provide real-time intelligence and make sure that we're empowering you to make the right decisions from a security control perspective. We've been doing this for 20 plus years. And then that ecosystem that we have. We don't intend to lock anybody out from a signal integration perspective. Admittedly, there may be some competitors that choose not to work with us, but we want to provide you with an open ecosystem and Mimecast to be an integral component of your overall cybersecurity portfolio. I'll be around for a few minutes. We have our sales engineers and a booth staff here ready to have deeper conversations. So please let us know what questions you have, and we look forward to after those conversations and hopefully more conversations later on.
Sir, the rest of the blackout. Having a round of applause for Brandon Reid. Nicely done, sir. And yes, do take advantage of continuing with